Afternoon, I'm Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times with news headlines from Arkansas on Wednesday, December the 3rd. They finally named today the 7-member commission that is going to take over the process of setting pay for state elected officials, legislators, and judges. 2 each were appointed by the governor, the president of the Senate, and the House Speaker, and one by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. They were people in some cases that they knew from work or were friends or just had good reputations. I was happy to see that Barbara Graves, the Little Rock businesswoman, former city director, was one of Mike Beebe's appointees to the commission. They're going to have to meet within 2 weeks. Within 45 days after that, they're going to make some recommendations. They can hear from the public. They'll compare pay in other states, most likely. And then they'll set a pay. They have no limit the first year. In subsequent years, they'll meet once a year. They can raise pay as much as 15%. They can reduce pay too. The first year, though, people are going to be looking closely. There's no doubt that there's some official pay at the state level that probably needs some increases. Judges, they make a pretty good amount of money right now, but I think they all think they deserve more. Legislators are going to be particularly under the spotlight. They only make about $15,000 a year for part-time work, but they actually take home around $50,000 when you count the expense money they claim, sometimes by billing the state for money paid to their spouses. They've also been abusing the per diem expense, claiming it for days when they're not in Little Rock, and that needs to be cleaned up. Perhaps this commission will do that. It's going to be an interesting process to watch. I've made the simple suggestion on our blog. Arkansas is 48th in the country in per capita income. We shouldn't pay any elected official any higher than 48th for the relative job they perform. Don't you think that's fair? Maybe they don't, I'm afraid. Asa Hutchinson, the next governor who'll take office in January, announced today that Bill Bryant, the former lead Drug Enforcement Administration agent in Arkansas, is going to be the next director of the state police. It's a little unusual to pick somebody from outside the agency, but not unheard of. He has a good reputation. There'll be some in the state police who grumble about it, I'm sure, but they say he has a good personality. Perhaps he can win them over. An animal rights group today had a news conference in Little Rock to continue to put pressure on Walmart to stop doing business with pork suppliers that use gestation crates and use otherwise ungodly means of treating animals. There's some horrific video released. Till now, Walmart has not joined some other corporate players in moving away from pork producers who use these methods. Remains to be seen if this will be effective. I have an item on the blog this morning about something I've talked about here before. The Jonesboro City Council voted yesterday 10-2 not to take a $30,000 grant from an organization that promotes volunteer projects in cities around the country. The reason, council members said they just couldn't in good conscience take money from an organization that's funded by Michael Bloomberg. Michael Bloomberg, you'd think, was Adolf Hitler. The problem with Michael Bloomberg is he's a liberal. He supports abortion rights and gun control. Jonesboro City Council people just can't have anything like that. This group is so terrible, it's used in 200 cities. They've done stuff like plant trees in South Dakota, formed a bureau to help veterans get jobs in health care in Austin, Texas, have done drainage work, all kinds of good deeds, but not for Jonesboro. This stuff is just too dangerous to be associated with money from a liberal. So all you liberals, don't go to Jonesboro. They don't want your money. Don't build any businesses up there either. The Little Rock City Board surprised the Heights neighborhood, which normally has a lot of clout, last night by approving a branch bank smack dab in a residentially zoned area. The fix was in. This was land bought for $2 million from the Stevens family. I suspect their connections helped grease this thing. It was an odd performance by the city board last night. The neighborhood's representative, Stacey Hurst, even voted for this against loud objections from many neighbors. But that's the Little Rock City Board. The city board also heard last night that it can't afford to give employees a pay raise next year. This is because tax revenue has just not been coming in to the extent expected when we raised taxes a few years ago. A good ruling from a federal judge yesterday said that federal agencies had not adequately considered the environment when they guaranteed a loan for a hog farm operation on a tributary of the Buffalo River. Doesn't mean this operation is going to stop. It could put their financing in jeopardy. This is something that we're going to have to wait to see play out. But what it does mean is it's going to make it very hard to approve these kind of operations in the future, and that at least is some good news for people who want to preserve the Buffalo River. Mike Huckabee's at it again. He knows his audience, Fox News watchers and the Republican primary voters he may try to reach in a run for president. He said Michael Brown was killed in Ferguson, Missouri because he acted like a thug. That's simple to Mike Huckabee. Any other facts that contradict that before the grand jury, he's not interested in. Finally, this is a personal note. I used to serve on the board of the Little Rock Wind Symphony. It's a great musical organization in Little Rock. They have their annual Christmas concert at 7:30 p.m. Thursday at Second Presbyterian Church. I urge you to go. It costs $10, but they need the money. They had a trailer parked outside the church this week, and somebody hitched it up to a pickup and drove off with it. It had $60,000 worth of musical instruments in it, 5 sets of timpani, chimes, and who knows what all. So the Wind Symphony could use your help. Go out and watch them play Christmas carols Thursday night. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back tomorrow.